Hi, welcome to episode 12 of the podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about being visible and visibility in your career. I have a workshop and a book around visibility, but it's more about external, outside of your work and just like in the world in general. But in this episode, I want to talk about being visible at work, in your workplace, how you can be visible. In the Be Visible course, I teach practical ways to become more visible and advance your career. It's more focused on building your personal brand and profile outside of your workplace. But people who did the workshop have implemented their learnings in such a way that they were able to get results in their workplace. One person was able to connect with a managing partner of the firm that he worked at, something that normally would be practically impossible for someone at his level. Another person was able to get a promotion at work by using the prompts in the workbook to create a case for herself. So I want to build up on that. I want to build up on what I've taught in the course and in the book and share 6 things that you can do at work to become more visible. Before we even get into the tips, let's talk about why it matters. It matters because, like I teach in the Be Visible course, it's not who you know or what you know, but who knows you know what you know. And if you put that in the context of the workplace, it's not just about what you've done or what you've accomplished, but it's also about who knows that you've done these things. You have to be clear about what you've done and how it has benefited your team or organization. If nobody can connect you to the work that you've done, you won't get rewarded for it. And that was the case of the person I spoke about, who was able to think about all the things she had done and present that to her director as a case for why she should be promoted to a more senior level. So on to the tips. Number 1, take credit for your work. Sometimes we're hesitant to do this because we feel it makes us look bad. But there are ways to do this without being arrogant or annoying. If you're not getting and taking credit for your work, someone else is. And that means that someone else is reaping the tangible and intangible rewards of your work. So in the appropriate context, like in meetings, performance reviews, or hands, highlight what you've done, how you did it, the impact, and who else contributed to it. Don't wait till performance review to talk about the thing you've done. By then, it's too late. If someone attempts to take credit for your work, reiterate your contribution to that work and highlight how you helped achieve whatever the accomplishment was. Number 2, take advantage of things that you already do in the organization. So for example, do you have a regular all hands meeting where teams share updates? Ask your manager for a chance to share about what your team has done or is doing and highlight how you are contributing to that. Do you have a lunch and learn program? Take some time to share about your role and how it helps the organization or how you can support others. Is there a company newsletter? Share something about your team in there and highlight your contributions as well. Number 3, start something. If you can't identify any avenues that already exist to showcase your work in your workplace, then start something new. Frame it in a way that benefits other people in your organization. For example, you could initiate a lunch and learn program and frame it as a way for the people in your team to get to know one another and to know how to work better together to enhance and facilitate cross-functional collaboration. You can also look for examples and case studies online of companies who have such programs and how it benefited them to share with your team as to why this is a good thing for everyone. This has multiple benefits. It signals you as a self-starter, someone who is collaborative, and it provides an avenue for other people to be spotlighted. Which brings me to the next thing. Number 4, highlight other people's contributions. When you are sharing about something you've accomplished at work, always credit other people for their participation and their contribution, speaking specifically to how they helped in achieving the goal or surpassing the target. This is a nice thing to do and people always appreciate it, especially people who are shy about highlighting their contributions. It also makes you feel better about sharing your own successes and wins because then you're spotlighting someone else and enabling them to be credited for their own work. Next up, I'll share the last 2 tips and a bonus tip. I always have bonuses. Number 5, this is a way to show that you're a self-starter and you have a breadth of skills. And it is to volunteer to work on other things. And these things may or may not be related to your role. They may be things like volunteering to be part of a resource group or a corporate social responsibility project. Don't do things that you don't care about because it always shows and you won't do it great and people won't want to work with you again. Ensure it's something that you actually enjoy and where you could be learning about something. For example, is someone going on a long-term leave and they need someone else to support the work of the team? If it aligns with your interest, then you can put your hand up for that responsibility. Is it to organize the end of the year party or something else? Whatever it is, be clear on what you are getting out of it. And you don't have to share what you're getting out of it with anyone else, but to yourself, you have to know. And what you're getting out of it could be contributing to a cause you care about, developing your skills in an area of interest, or just getting to know other people in your organization that you may not otherwise have had an opportunity to work with. Also, ensure that your actual job does not suffer. And as always, bring your best self and your best efforts to everything that you do. And number 6, contribute meaningfully in conversations. Whether it's a chat on Slack group or a meeting, be engaged and ask relevant questions that ask for clarification or offer suggestions. Reiterate what someone has said from a different point of view. Share your insights. Don't be shy or afraid to speak. If you have something valuable to say, say it. If you have something valuable to ask, ask it. Sometimes we are hesitant to ask questions because we don't want to look like we don't know something. But asking questions can signal that you are engaged and that you care. And this also means that people take notice of you and they see you, which is back to the point of being visible. And for the final bonus tip, know your manager's priorities and your manager's priorities at the very least. This way, you're working on what is actually important, and when you're sharing your wins, it's things that are actually relevant to your team and to your organization, and not just a random collection of wins that make you feel good about yourself. I also want to share some of the ways that I've actually practically done these things. So, with tip 5, which is to volunteer to work with others on things that may not be related to your role. Last year, I volunteered to help plan our company end of year event. I've also volunteered to take on when one of the product managers went on external leave. I volunteered to take on managing a particular feature development process as a project manager sort of for that, and that helped me develop some skills, and it also helped me meet some other people that I don't really usually work with in the office. An example for me for starting something is I started something in my company called a insights sharing call, because I was just noticed that they all had insights in different places and everything was all over the place. And so the call was something to help people collaborate together more closely and learn more about customers. And that was how I framed it. It was a way for everybody to learn more about customers so that you could do their work more effectively in a way that benefits the customers. So I hope these tips were very helpful for you. And to summarize, number 1, take credit for the work you do. Number 2, take advantage of things already done in your organization. Number 3, start something. Number 4, highlight other people's contributions. Number 5, volunteer to work on other things. And number 6, contribute meaningfully in conversations. And the final bonus point was know your manager's priorities and your manager's priorities. What stood out for you from this episode? Leave a comment. If you have any other ideas on how to be visible at the workplace, leave a comment as well. And yeah, share, like, subscribe. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of A Couple of Things. If you enjoyed this episode or found any part of it insightful, don't forget to share with your friends on your social media, and be sure to leave a comment or a review if you can on your podcast listening app. Thank you.